resources to do both.
We've been listening to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He's at the Heritage Foundation in Washington. We're hearing him laying out a strong and determined case against the Iranian nuclear deal and slamming Tehran's theocratic jihadi leadership, pointing out that the agreement has fueled Iran's support of terrorism, bolstered its influence in the Middle East, and as written now would permit Tehran to build a nuclear bomb, he said, when the limits are lifted in about 10 years. From sheltering al-Qaeda terrorists to building ballistic missiles, he said the Obama administration made a bad bet that the Trump administration is not repeating, slapping the strongest sanctions possible against the regime. Let's bring in John Sununu now, former New Hampshire governor and White House chief of staff to President George H.W. Bush. So, Governor, do you believe the Secretary of State has a realistic, clear-eyed view of the danger and the threat that Tehran poses, considering its long history of deceit?
I think he certainly does, and he's laying it out as clearly as he can for the rest of the world to understand what I believe we understand. And it is crucial for him to do this. And I hope in this speech he reminds our European allies that they bought into the Obama sham, that Obama had the authority to enter into such a far-reaching agreement without sending it to the Senate for approval. And of course, the reason Obama did not send it to the Senate for approval is that even the Democratic senators led by Chuck Schumer opposed the Iran deal that Obama put together. So this is a crucial speech. And the other problem that the rest of the world has is that, unfortunately, when you get outside of the United States, the only news reports they see, 99% plus, come from CNN International. And we understand the bias that network has been carrying relative to everything the president has done.
Well, that's a really interesting perspective. And one thing when you're dealing with Europe, for example, the EU is trying to do an end run now around the Iranian nuclear deal. Do you think that will be successful, or do you think the Secretary of State and the administration's message will get through?
Well, you can see how greed is really the motivation for the European Union. They are more concerned about their companies doing business. They have even said that if some of the smaller companies lose business because of U.S. sanctions, that somehow the EU will compensate them if they continue to do business with Iran. So the veil is off of this thing in the sense of Europe doing it for commercial and mercantile reasons, and the fact that they really were willing partners to Obama in trying to impose something without senatorial approval in the U.S.
And, you know, finally, Governor, I mean, the deal was supposed to change Tehran's behavior. But we're seeing from the resistant groups, there have been demonstrations over this weekend. They say some demonstrators have been killed. They've continued to spread terrorism around the world. They are the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, according to the State Department. Has this deal, has the money, has that led them back into the civilized world? Or has that just fueled the terrorism that Secretary of State Pompeo just said that they have engaged in?
It has fueled the terrorism, and unfortunately, the Iranian people who were supposed to get benefits from this have gotten nothing. And it just underscores the fact that anybody who believed what Obama and Kerry were selling them really was naive. Obama and Kerry really will be seen in history, I think, for having passed an agreement, supported an agreement that was really negative in its impact.
All right, Governor John Sununu, thank you. Supporters say it has stopped Iran from building a nuclear bomb, but of course critics say it's only a matter of time. By the way, good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Shawn in for Bill Hemmer.
Yes, and I'm